Hey everyone, my name is Saf. You're watching Rayon Tech TV, and today in this session, we'll be continuing upon the dashboard design that we did in the last video. So, in the previous session, we have discussed how to design the layout and create a get a basic overview and understanding of how the interface layouting works and how to divide the different sections. And based upon that, we have created and we were up to this. Now it is the right time for us to individually understand the components and go ahead with uh, a better understanding of how each and every widget works. Widget means each and every like a visual element displayed on the screen. So this is just a gauge. This is another chart, and this is another chart, and then we are having a grid, and then we are having KPIs. So we'll be slowly understanding each and everything so that the confidence of designing the interface builds up in a better way. Right now we are having the static data, so let's make it dynamic. So just to not to spoil this interface as of now, so I'm just creating the dynamic data code in a separate testing interface, and later on we can replicate this code in our actual interface. So as you know that this is a gauge field code where we are having label position as collapsed. If we comment this out, so we can see that there is no change because we are not having any label as of now. So if you want, you can write the label. So let me write the label and then add enter a comma. If we don't make it collapse now, then it will be visible, as you can see on the left side of this interface rendering screen. So right now it is collapsed, so it is not visible. So better to not to keep it. We don't actually require it. Now the next thing is everything is quite simple in gauge field. The only thing is about percentage. So in percentage, we are basically putting up all the like that's in gauge field. This is the exact value where you can make this value dynamic and make your gauge entirely dynamic. So here I am using a database table called VOF customers. In order to use this table inside my interface code to make it dynamic, I have to actually use an expression rule. And in order to make an expression rule, first I need to create a constant of that, like I need to point to the table so that I can use that in my query. So I have done the code just to save time. In this, we have queried the data from the table where we are querying the data with respect to all the rows. After the rows that we are getting the data subset, we are actually fetching the total count of that. The moment you get the total count, we are indexing the data with respect to the total count value. So if we test the expression rule, you will get the total count value. Now, how did I created the constant and why it is not a part of my actual application? So in order to make this a quick explanation, I have utilized the already created table called VOF customers. This will also be available in your community account. So in order to point to a VOF customers, we just need to create a constant with respect to its own data store. So in your real life project environment, or if you want to create your own table and fill that data, it will be a very lengthy lecture for my case. But for you, you can create your own table and create some records inside that and create a data store for it. And based upon the data store, then you can create a constant just like this, constant pointing to that table. Right now, I've utilized VF customers. That's why it is available like here. Now coming back to the topic, instead of this, we can directly call our rule. Now this rule is quite dynamic. If I remove any value from my database, so you can see my one of my row is deleted. And if I still check my rule again, I can see that now there are 23 records because the total count is 23. Now, if I increase the records, let's suppose if I copy one and go, and if I copy it one more time and then go, and let's do one more time also and then go. That means I have increased three records. These are just copies. So it will be like 26. Now this is dynamic. So if this expression rule is dynamic, means it is directly proportional to the values residing in the database table as a record. So as the record increases, this expression rule will be dynamically increasing the count. And if the count is actually increasing or decreasing based upon the values in the database table, so this is a dynamic expression rule. Now based upon the dynamic expression rule, we can call this dynamic expression rule inside our percentage value uh, here as a rule bank. I have kept as I have kept these explanations as simple as possible so that as a beginner learner you are able to connect the dots and you are able to understand what I'm trying to relate and explain to you. In the real life project environments there might be complex situations or the collection of data. It would not be that simple that you have to pick the data from a single value. There might be a possibility that you have to do the data transformation when it comes to grouping, and getting the actual value would not be that easy as you see here. But yeah, it is a good way for me to show that how the dynamic expression rule works and brings the data. This is how it brings. So now you can see this is 26. Now let me show you one more time. Let me add one more and save. If I again test this interface, I will see that the value comes to 27. So as a user will load this gauge field in his own dashboard, so the data is coming from the database directly or indirectly through an expression rule. So that's how the values are being connected. So what I can do, I can copy the entire code, or I can just copy the rule value because nothing else is changed. So I can take this rule value, go back to my main dashboard interface. So as a developer, it is a good practice to do all the testing and playground stuff here in the temporary or testing interface, and go back to your main dashboard and find area chart. Now we are having gauge field. So instead of gauge field, what we can do, as a static value we can put a rule value. I think there are two commas, that's why it's a problem. Now now we have utilized our dynamic expression rule, which is producing it as a dynamic value. Let me again show you one more time. If I delete one record, and if I test the interface, the value is changing. Based upon the data values, the behavior of expression rule changes and it produces a different number. Based upon that, the gauge fields render the value in the interface. So this is all for today's lecture, and we'll be coming up more with one by one explanation of each and every component so that we can create a better design and you will be more confident in designing the interface. Till then, stay tuned, and if you have not subscribed yet, drop a subscribe and hit the like button. Feel free to comment all the topics or any kind of interface component that you want me to explain. Thank you so much. See you. Bye bye.